Do-do-do. Dink. Hey everybody, I'm Arglefumph. In this video, I will play through Dark Romance, Hunchback of Notre Dame. From beginning to end, we're going to start with the scene of Cardinal Frollo, although he's not identified by name until later on in the game. Not too much longer, about 20 seconds after we stop talking to him.
Captain Frederick de Boer, you have proved yourself to be an honorable man, but to become a knight of the Parisian elite order, you must complete a brave deed. I hereby order you to arrest Quasimodo, a dangerous criminal. I hear he's hunting Esmeralda, the street dancer. Please bring her here. We'll keep her safe until he is justly tried. I've seen you speak with her, so I doubt she'll refuse. As you know, your friend, Captain Victor, mysteriously disappeared while investigating Quasimodo as well. So the reputation of the Parisian elite order is at stake, along with his life. Take my carriage to the heart of Paris. My informants tell me he'll be there today.
Yeah, I really think this scene should have pointed out that that was Cardinal Frollo from the beginning. But we hear about the Cardinal here.
Halt! Paris is in a state of emergency while the criminal Quasimodo walks free. You can't pass here without a decree signed by the Cardinal himself.
I'm using the Cardinal's private carriage. Come on! And I like how my luggage had to be on the outside of the Cardinal's carriage. It's just a tiny bag. Couldn't I have brought that inside the carriage? Couldn't I have taken that with me? I don't know. So this opening scene is going to explain the story, and I think it's okay, but I feel like this should have been delayed a while, like 10-15 minutes, because about halfway through the game... Wait, let me stop talking. Scene starting.
Hello, I'm taller. I was born human, but Quasimodo turned me into a ferret. Please release me. Meanwhile, I'll tell you all about him. Frollo despised mirrors because he was ugly and hunchbacked as a wheel. People even threw tomatoes at him until one day when he found a dark book describing a ritual for becoming handsome. When the time had come, he found a rare violet orchid and performed the ritual over the beautiful babe, Quasimodo. Frollo absorbed his youth and beauty, while Quasimodo shriveled like an old boot. Soon Frollo climbed the ladder to become cardinal. Quasimodo served him faithfully, stealing gold and committing crimes. Recently, Quasimodo read a letter about the ritual, so now he's plotting something in the cathedral.
Something dangerous in the cathedral.
You freed me. Thank you. I'll never forget you. I'll repay you someday. Here, take this with my gratitude.
So there are two weird things about that. First, what I was going to mention earlier, I think it's weird that we just got the entire story of this game explained to us, that Quasimodo's secretly a good guy, and the Cardinal's the villain. So Quasimodo is actually trying to get revenge on the Cardinal, who cursed him and stole his youth. So that's a big plot twist. About halfway through the game, it's going to be super dramatic, and it's going to be revealed that Quasimodo's secretly a good guy, and that Frollo is secretly the villain. But that just got explained to us. It's like in the first minute of the game, that big major plot point got explained to us. But the game is still going to pretend that the player doesn't know it, and it's still going to be treated like a big plot twist when it comes up later on.
Oh, so you're the Cardinal's envoy. Sorry for keeping you. Proceed.
And now we're going to go inside this area. We're going to meet a character who's basically here for one scene, and that's it. It's Pierre.
Hello. You must be Frederick? I'm Pierre. Cardinal Frollo asked me to meet you. Esmeralda will be dancing in the square today. That means Quasimodo will come too. I tried looking for her in the crowd, but it's hopeless. There's too many people. You know Esmeralda, so perhaps you'll manage to find her. Be careful. That crowd is tumultuous. Come, perhaps we can find a way to quiet them down.
I think maybe this game could have been improved if this Pierre character had been replaced by our best friend Victor. We are going to see Victor later on, but Pierre is going to completely disappear. But, you know, it could have worked to have the two of them as the exact same character, but it does work for them to be separate characters as well, just two different members of the secret police.
Oh, Captain Frederick, I haven't seen you in ages. What can a knight like you need from a simple street dancer like me? What? That criminal Quasimodo is hunting me? Of course I'll go with you. Please, can you hold my medallion? It's all I have left of my parents, and I'm afraid I might lose it in this crowd.
I'm gonna talk for a bit, but here's a scene.
You're working for the Cardinal too? Release Esmeralda at once, or I'll hurt you as well.
This is Quasimodo being evil and angry. He attacks Pierre and kidnaps Esmeralda.
Ah, my arm. I didn't know Quasimodo had gargoyles serving him. Please, bandage my wound. I feel dizzy from loss of blood.
So that tiny scene we saw there... Oh, wait, this guy's gonna talk again.
Thanks, but it still hurts. Please, soothe my pain. Here, take this.
Sorry, I keep interrupting the dialogue to talk about this game. Right, so that brief scene was the only scene we're really gonna see of Esmeralda and our Captain Frederick fellow. I don't know if Frederick is in the original Hunchback of Notre Dame story. I don't know, I've never read the book. I have not. But that brief scene is the only scene we see the two of them together, and they are true lovers. It's like super fantastic romance. That's the premise of the game. It's called Dark Romance. The romance is between Esmeralda and Captain Frederick. Interestingly enough, unlike the other games in this series, it is going to be a while before we switch from Captain Frederick to Esmeralda. The premise of the series is that you play as the two lovers. You switch back and forth between the two of them. It's a pretty good premise. I like having two different protagonists. But it does often lead to the problem that you don't get to see the two characters together. They're often separated for most of the game. Because if they were together, I don't know. Why can't they be together for the whole game? Well, then I guess there wouldn't be much point between switching the two characters if they were always together, right? You could play through the entire game as just Esmeralda if she was always hanging around Captain Frederick. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind that option. It would be cool to play through the whole game as just one character if the two of them were together all the time. So anyway, I could have used a bit more of Captain Frederick interacting with Esmeralda. Even that brief conversation with the two of them, it was all just one-sided. We didn't get to hear what Captain Frederick says. So that was an interesting decision. I don't want to complain too much, but I just think, boy, I could have used a bit more romance in the dark romance game. Instead, it went straight for the darkness, and she was kidnapped by the foul Quasimodo. And we're about done with this area. We create a healing potion. We're going to give it to our friend Pierre.
Thank you. We must do our best to arrest Quasimodo. I'll go to the Order and ask for reinforcements. Here, you can use this as a wrench.
Oh, now I'm wondering what happens to this guy, because we never see any reinforcements whatsoever. That guy never shows up again. No more Pierre. He basically is there to get hurt and then give you a puzzle while you try to heal him. And now we're going to get more backstory on Quasimodo. So over in this area, we had those two cross-stitch samplers, which talked about Quasimodo's youth being stolen when he was a baby, or his beauty was stolen when he was a baby. He was just a beautiful, beautiful baby. And this just recaps that story. This is the third time we've heard the story of Quasimodo having his beauty stolen by the evil Frollo.
The cruel townspeople mocked him, even tying him to a pillar in the central square. Suddenly, a cloaked man untied Quasimodo.
This gives us a bit more detail, though, as to what happened afterwards.
Him safely into the cathedral. When Quasimodo asked his name, he replied only Master, and thus Quasimodo served him gratefully.
So it is supposed to be a bit of a secret as to who Quasimodo's mysterious master is, But if you've been paying attention, you know it's Cardinal Frollo. Like, he looks like Cardinal Frollo in those scenes, by the way. Looks exactly like them, but we were just told that Frollo stole Quasimodo's youth when he was a baby. We already know that for sure. So Quasimodo's master has to be Cardinal Frollo, and yet the game is going to act like this is a big surprise. Something else. Oh wait, we're going to have a big scene here. I should be quiet for that big scene. I'll talk after this scene is over. Esmeralda, no! She's been knocked out!
Captain Frederick, I warned you to stay out of this. Perhaps a quiet cell will make you rethink who your friends are.
Frederick, it's good to see you, though not in these circumstances. I found Esmeralda in the cathedral, but when I tried to free her, that monster Quasimodo nearly caught me. Anyway, I promised I'd repay you, didn't I? I can't open this cell, but if I free Esmeralda, I bet she could. Oh, here! I found this on the floor.
We use the coin to open up this locket, and that will let us switch between Esmeralda and Captain Frederick at certain points of the story.
Hello, Esmeralda. Captain Frederick sent me to help you. Hold still while I gnaw through your ropes.
Esmeralda, where are you hiding? Don't be afraid. I can keep you safe from the Cardinal. In fact, you'll help me get my revenge.
Quasimodo's coming. Hide.
Esmeralda's gonna hide behind this gargoyle, or this wall. Tapestry?
Well, if you're hiding here, then there's nowhere for you to go. If you'll excuse me, I need to check on my guest in the dungeon.
Shh, I'm here to help. I'm Victor, Knight of the Elite Order at your service. Was trying to arrest Quasimodo, but he captured me and turned me into a gargoyle. I'm afraid the cathedral is enchanted, so none of us can escape. If you find the magical talisman, you can break my curse, and then I'll help you escape. Here, this will be useful.
So that's Victor. That is the detective's friend. That's Captain Frederick's friend, who was part of the Parisian Order. He was looking into Quasimodo. Quasimodo cursed him. Sort of like how Quasimodo cursed the ferret guy. We don't know why Quasimodo cursed the ferret. Did Quasimodo do that of his own accord, or was he just following the Cardinal's evil orders? That doesn't get explained, jeez, does it? I wonder what the story is. So, it's odd because, as I've said, Quasimodo is not actually a bad guy. We're going to learn Quasimodo's a hero. But he still has these magic powers. He has the power to turn somebody into a gargoyle, and then he can boss around the gargoyle. Presumably that's the case with that one gargoyle friend of his that he keeps flying around on. It's because that was somebody who got cursed into a gargoyle, like Victor. That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, so, but Victor's only like half gargoyle, so maybe it's like you have to be a gargoyle for a week before you become fully gargoyle and you're fully under Quasimodo's spell? I'm not sure, because the ferret is not fully under Quasimodo's spell. The ferret is actually quite fine, and he's actually trying to fight Quasimodo. So these are things that don't really get explained. And as I said, about halfway through this game, Quasimodo is going to become a hero. Right now, he's still being a villain. He's doing a great job of being a hero who is acting exactly like a villain would. Like, he locked up Esmeralda and threw the captain into a prison cell, and that's later going to be explained. And you see those papers there by Quasimodo saying, "I hate you," with the Frollo crossed out, and it's like, "I'm done following your orders, master." And these are definitely things that make it a little too obvious that Quasimodo's master is actually Frollo. then again, maybe they were expecting, you probably read the book or seen the movie. You probably know already that Frollo's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Oh, yeah, and there's something mysterious. I won't say mysterious, but speaking of the storyline, I forgot to get the scalpel. So, scalpel's over here. Well, that's not a scalpel, it's a brush. Okay, it's a scalpel-like brush. So we're gonna have something mysterious coming up. With this, after this puzzle, we get a scene, we get a picture of Quasimodo wanting to kiss Esmeralda. And it's labeled My Dream. Check it out. We're gonna get it in just a moment here. My dreams. It's labeled My Dreams. So why was that in the game? I don't know. Is the game ever going to go back to it? No! We're never going to get any mention of it again. So that's just a weird thing to throw at the players. It's like, okay, we're going to make it seem like Quasimodo has a secret crush on Esmeralda. And yeah, I'm not sure why they did that. And also, he's the Hunchback of Notre Dame. So it makes sense that we'd spend some time in Notre Dame. This is pretty much the only time we'll be spending here in Notre Dame. This segment, where we're playing as Esmeralda. We are going to come back in a later segment and finish off these puzzles. We've got the various puzzles that are up here in the bell tower. So we'll come back and solve those puzzles, and they will be difficult and will take a long time. Yikes. But for now, we've got the talisman, we give it to Victor, and then we're going to end this segment. No, oh right, we have this puzzle. Okay, we have this puzzle, and then we're going to end this segment.
Thank you. The charms sealing the cathedral are strong, but I've discovered we can destroy them with an enchanted pipe organ melody. Unfortunately, Quasimodo broke the organ, so we'll have to repair it first. Meanwhile, I'm going to free Frederick. I'm certain he can help us escape this place.
So Victor's definition of freeing Frederick doesn't match my definition of freeing the guy. Oh, I mean, I guess you'll see. You'll see.
I once thought you were an honorable man, but only a monster would work for Cardinal Frollo. I'm not the only one who suffered because of his greed. But the Cardinal is running out of time. I won't let what happened to me happen to Esmeralda. Once his cruel ritual ends, I'll be freed from this form, and the Cardinal will finally experience my suffering. It's too bad you won't see it. Farewell, Captain.
Hey, Frederick! It's me, Victor. Don't recognize me? That's because Quasimodo turned me into this stone beast. Here, this will unlock your door.
So he does free us by giving us a key. So in that sense, he frees Captain Frederick. But then he immediately gives Frederick this big chore, which is going to take a while to accomplish. Right now.
Quasimodo has locked Esmeralda in the cathedral. She needs our help to escape. When Quasimodo captured me, he performed experiments on me here. My folder should be here in this dungeon. Can you find it and bring it to me? I need it to help free Esmeralda.
So how does he know this folder contains something to help Esmeralda? That is a question. More importantly, how did he get the key to that jail cell? Where did he find it? Like, he seems to have known where it was ahead of time. He's like, hey, free me and I'll help. How did he know this stuff? I just have questions. So, yeah, technically, Captain Frederick's going to be here in Notre Dame, and he's going to be exploring underneath the cathedral, though. Or is he next to the cathedral? Is he near the cathedral? I'm not sure. So, I'm wondering why Victor can't just rip that grate off. Or check this out, I've got this metal hacksaw. I could throw that up to Victor right here. He could saw through those blades and just take me to Esmeralda right now. That should be possible. It's not possible, and I'm wondering why. So now we have a puzzle going through the underground catacombs. This is kind of cool, though. It's like a maze puzzle. I've seen variations of this puzzle where you actually have to go through a maze, but I kind of prefer this version of the puzzle, where the emphasis is on finding the items and using the items. And that picture of the Master, that picture is so clearly Cardinal Frollo. How is it still a question as to who the Master is? And, like, yeah, there's another picture of Quasimodo and his master, which is clearly Cardinal Frollo. And so many questions with Quasimodo are... I guess I should say that Quasimodo was fooled by Cardinal Frollo. That's what we were told. Like, he was tricked into working for Cardinal Frollo. So why does he automatically jump to the conclusion that our hero is a villain? It's like, why doesn't he think, oh, gee, maybe Cardinal Frollo fooled this guy too? Why did Quasimodo refuse to entertain that possibility, which, in my opinion, seems pretty likely? So I am talking over most of the game. I'm sorry to anybody who was mad and really wanted to see how to solve the puzzles, because I'm kind of talking over that. Well, I'm actually producing two different versions of this video. So I recorded this video without any dialogue whatsoever. Did that about 3 weeks ago, and now I'm doing commentary on that video. So the way I did this video was piece by piece, bit by bit. So generally with each segment, I'd play through each segment. So whenever we switch characters, generally that's when there's a new segment. I also made new segments when I got stuck, or when I had problems with the various puzzles. So I'll point that out again when we get to puzzles which were tricky and difficult. So is this Victor's file? No. That is a bell. That is not Victor's file. That's just a bell. The bells, bells, bells of Notre Dame. Yeah, I kind of wish those like, yeah, I just wish that Notre Dame played more of a role in this actual game. Whereas it's just the segment here near the start. And I actually kind of like this segment here at the start. It's good, so it's like the first third of the game. I think it's great. I like it best.
That's it! With this, Esmeralda should be able to escape the cathedral. Don't worry, we'll find a way to free you too.
And now Victor just flies off. We switch back to Esmeralda.
Esmeralda, Frederick found my folder. Take this. You'll find something useful in it. Now we can finally break the enchantment keeping us here.
Again, no idea how he knows there's a key or something inside there which will break the enchantment. Seriously, why would Quasimodo keep that in Victor's folder? Why does Quasimodo even have a folder like that? I'm not sure. If Quasimodo's like a secret good guy, why does he have this folder? Why hasn't he gotten rid of it? Is it left over from when he was just a pawn of his mysterious unknown master? I mean, I guess that could be the case. So here we go. Here are some tricky puzzles. So this is a puzzle where I had to end my recording and then re-recorded this puzzle many, many times over. I had to just play it over and over and over again until I figured out the solution. This particular puzzle shows up a lot in this game. Now there's a strategy guide you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, strategy guide, which you can press. But you can look at the puzzle solution there, but that's a puzzle solution which is like 12 steps. It's really tough, and this puzzle solution requires a lot of steps. So I just solved the puzzle on my own. I figured out the basic strategy for solving the puzzle. It's still pretty tough, and so I basically played this puzzle like 12 times until I was able to get it done fairly quickly. And so the way I was able to ensure I could redo this puzzle over and over and over again was that I got close, like I got to this situation and then I hit reset. Right? I hit the reset button. There, that way I'd give myself lots of practice. And by solving this puzzle over and over and over again. That makes sense, right? I feel like I gave a terrible explanation for... Look, I did the puzzle many, many times in a row, and that's how I was able to get that relatively fast solution for a fairly difficult puzzle. Alrighty, so now we're just wrapping up the puzzles here in the cathedral. I think we were going to get all 3 of those pieces. And then Esmeralda just plays the melody. How does she know the melody without being told? I don't know. I was totally expecting a piano playing puzzle here, but we did not get one. And she's pretty good at playing the organ. Good for her. So that breaks the windows and she can escape, only to immediately be recaptured.
I'm glad you freed yourself. Now it's time to help Frederick. Have you found a tile for the secret passage? If so, please give it to me.
How did he know I found the tile for the secret passage?
There you are. What are you doing? I'm trying to protect you. Can't you see that? I didn't want to be rough, but this is for your own good.
Seriously, Quasi, you kidnapped me!
Look, Esmeralda found the tile for opening the secret passage. Unfortunately, Quasimodo captured Esmeralda. He's taking her to Delaire Island. You'll have to hurry to catch up to them.
Great, so we get the tile, and now Frederick's going to escape. He's gonna put the tile over here. This is a fairly simple puzzle. You'll notice that these puzzles, they have an easy mode and a hard mode. So normally I played through on easy mode because playing on hard mode just takes a while. Like I can do it. I can beat these puzzles on hard mode, but then this would not be a 2-hour video. This would be like a much longer video. Sometimes the hard mode solution is the faster one. Not always, but sometimes. So this puzzle basically, it's over. You saw the solution. But you see, it's tough. It's like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right.
Captain. I'm taking Esmeralda far away, where you'll never find her. You fool! The Cardinal plans to ruin her life. By helping him, you're only cursing her. Besides, you don't have anything to chase us with.
There we go. Goodbye, Quasimodo. Still acting like a villain. And almost killing this random woman. Why did he do that, Quasimodo? I thought you were a good guy, but you're not acting like one. He's acting just like a fake-out villain. So this is about the point where I'm like, not so sure about this game anymore. I did like the first, say, half hour of the game. Yeah, let's say first half hour is pretty good. And then we're going to have this middle third section of the game, which I don't like as much. This particular area is fine. It's just a one-screen puzzle. I mean, we don't go anywhere else, right? This is just like one screen where we're going to have to solve all the puzzles on this screen and do everything in this screen, because we're never going to come back to it. It's interesting. So unlike the other screens in the game where you kind of go back and forth between a bunch of different screens, find items in one screen, use them in another screen, so on and so forth. This is just a one-time only screen. We enter the screen, And as soon as we leave it, we're never going to come back again. So that makes it somewhat unique. It's like it's a transition screen. Yeah, I guess you could put it that way. It's a transition. And here we go. We found the life ring. And we're going to use it on this woman here to save her life.
Please, help. I'm so tired. I can barely keep my head up. Maybe we... Thanks for saving my life. The name's Kraus. Ugh, I hate that Quasimodo. His gargoyles are always attacking my ships. That Cardinal is useless too. He's never answered any of my requests for help. Quasimodo is heading to Delaire Island. He's crazy. That place is cursed. I've heard any ship that sails there wrecks before they reach it. You couldn't pay me to sail there. Well, I suppose you did save my life, but we can't sail there unless you repair my ship. Take this as a token of my gratitude.
I'd say that woman, she's okay. It's just, I don't know. I feels like maybe she was a character reused from one of the other games that this company has made. Just guessing. And this puzzle is so easy. They didn't even bother with a hard mode and easy mode for this one. You just want to copy the numbers that are on the screen. Yeah, we're never going to see that woman again. She's never going to be mentioned again. And that's it. We're basically done with this screen. We're going to move on to Delaire Island. Now, the Delaire Island storyline is going to be from another dark romance game. Dark Romance, The Curse of Bluebeard, where we have this evil man named Bluebeard who has a bunch of different wives, and he keeps killing them, so we need to save the wives, their ghosts. Oh, and here's the big scene where it's revealed Frollo is the villain. Check it out. Like I promised, it's about half hour into the game, we get this plot twist.
Did you really think you could escape me? I'm the Cardinal. I have eyes and ears everywhere. Just give Esmeralda to me, and I promise you'll go free, Quasimodo.
I served you faithfully for years, but you were the reason for my suffering all along. I want my life back, and I won't let you ruin hers either.
You should have taken my generous offer. Now you'll die at dawn. I'm sorry you had to witness this, Captain. You were one of my best, but I can't let you know my secret and live. Guards, execute them both at dawn.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, I'm gonna be executed! Not really, I'm gonna escape. This is kind of grim, though.
Captain Frederick de Boer, for betraying the elite order and collaborating with the criminal Quasimodo, you are sentenced to the gallows. Any last words?
I didn't do it?
Nothing to say? Very well. Execute him.
Captain, forgive me. I thought you were working for Cardinal Frollo, but now we both know his true motives. Let's fight together and save Esmeralda. Frollo plans to use Esmeralda for his ritual, so we must hurry. Why don't we split up? I'll search for her in the dungeon. You search Frollo's castle. Good luck.
Now we get the wife story.
I am Miranda, one of Frollo's former wives. When each of us didn't work for his dark ritual, he threw us away and married another poor victim. Some of us died during the ritual, but the rest of us have been imprisoned here. If you free me, I'll tell you where Frollo has taken Esmeralda.
So this is, like I said, basically the story of Bluebeard. They just reuse the story from one of their other games, where this guy has just kidnapped a series of wives. Of course, in the Bluebeard story, most of the wives were dead. That's Miranda, by the way. That's a picture of Miranda, who I believe that was the woman we just talked to. She introduced herself as Miranda, but they look completely different. they look completely different. They are at least 10 years apart in age, so I don't understand that story. So in the Bluebeard game, most of the wives were dead. He killed most of his old wives. Oh, and here's another wife that we need to save. I don't think we're actually going to save her. I think she's dead. I think she is confirmed dead, and we're never going to see her. And let's see, Bluebeard had children. He had a child with each wife, and we had to do stuff with the children. But here in this game, it's just the wives that we need to save. So this is the point. This is officially like the third of the game where I do not enjoy it as much. It seems to have very little to do with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And also we have the same story repeating over and over and over again, which is that Frollo's like, oh, I'm going to kill you. And then he just gets up and leaves. And then that's it. And similarly, Esmeralda's going to get the same story over and over again, which is she escapes. She gets captured and escapes. And gets captured and escapes. So we've already seen several escapes already here in this game. Right? They were captured by Quasimodo and escaped a few times. Escaped twice, really. I didn't count. I think the final count is something like 6 or 7 or even 8 different escapes and captures, depending on how you count it. But the evil Frollo, he's got his evil plan to make himself live forever. Actually, I think that was a... I don't know, that seems to be a common thing in several video games. There's more than one video game where the villain is trying to... Yeah, wait. It was Dark Romance Winter Lily. That was the evil witch's plan. She was going to live forever by stealing the youth of the fair maiden. The fair maiden was Lily, who is, it's supposed to be like the Snow White fairy tale, so it was Snow White. And that's fine, that matches the Snow White story. Whereas Frollo trying to steal Esmeralda's beauty so he can live forever, I'm pretty sure that's not in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And it's also a little weird that he has to steal her beauty by marrying her. What?
Thank you. Frollo took Esmeralda to his castle. You must hurry. I fear she is the one Frollo has been waiting for. And if he completes this horrid ritual, she will die. But be careful. Frollo is a clever, cruel man. Thank you again for freeing me from his control. Esmeralda is lucky to know you. Please take this. I hope it helps you beat that monster. Good luck.
We got berries. Really? Really? I mean, I guess the berries are useful to get rid of the iguana. But still, like, the iguana was there right next to her. She could have taken care of the iguana herself. I don't know. We freed her from a life of enslavement. And that's very nice of us. Oh, and here I'm doing things not really backwards, but in an unexpected way. I'm solving the puzzle of bribing the guard before we even learn it's a puzzle.
Halt! This entrance is for guards only. I can tell you're desperate. Give me something valuable and I'll pretend I didn't see you. Gemstones? All right, go, before I change my mind.
That guy sounds a bit like Victor, doesn't he?
Esmeralda, you're the most beautiful woman in Paris. Don't be afraid, my darling. I'd never harm you. Marry me and we'll rule this city.
Never! You used Quasimodo to commit crimes for you and tricked Frederick into kidnapping me. You only care about yourself.
You're right, but I don't need your permission to get what I want. Captain? But you were executed. You won't ruin my plans. Guard, kill him.
It is a little ironic that Cardinal Frollo's like, what? You were executed. How did you escape? I'm going to make sure you're dead this time. And again, he turns around and leaves before he gets executed. Frollo is very good at capturing our hero, but not very good at actually staying around to make sure our hero doesn't escape certain death. So now we get to solve some puzzles in here. So pretty much the rest of the game is going to be spent in this area, going through Frollo's castle. We don't really have a map. I mean, yeah, there's a map screen. We don't really know where we're going. It's just... this is part of the reason why I don't like this section of the game as much. It's just... there doesn't seem to be much sense, or sense of purpose, maybe, is probably the correct word. It's just go from room to room to room. Or, you know, getting inside the castle, that's fine. I've also noticed this game is very purple. We've got a huge purple theme going on. I wonder why. So here's a puzzle. This puzzle is surprisingly difficult, but on easy mode the pieces are closer together to... I mean, they're closer to where they're supposed to go. So that's what makes it easy. Oh, you might have noticed, I don't skip any of the puzzles. That's something about this video. No skipped puzzles. You could totally use this as a start to finish walkthrough. It's because in one of my other games, I skipped like the hardest puzzle of the game and got so many angry comments from people who were trying to use my walkthrough to beat the game, and they're like, "Oh, come on! I watched this entire video only to see a skip button!" And I'm very sorry for those people, but also, this is a puzzle that's like, you know, 30 minutes into the video. Just skip ahead to 30 minutes into the video. You don't have to watch the whole thing, right? You can just skip to a puzzle. This is a minor hidden objects challenge. I don't think we have another one of those in this game, where it's just find these 6 items, and that's it. I feel like another reason I didn't like this section of the game as much is because it is difficult, like, definite upping of the difficulty. I just got so stuck trying to remember what items go where and what the items are for. Thank goodness for the hint button. I don't usually use the hint button here in this video. I might use it once or twice when I get stuck, but for the most part, I either didn't use the hint button, or I just paused the recording, used the hint button, then let the hint button refill again, and then continued to make it seem like I had never used a hint button at all. This is actually not so tough of a puzzle. This is me counting. I suppose it would have been easier to memorize the sequence that you're supposed to press the buttons, but I am actually solving it legitimately. I guess you have to go clockwise and counterclockwise. Thankfully, this puzzle lets you hit the signals in any particular order, as opposed to other games where you have to get them all in a very specific order. Usually from left to right is the specific order that you have to hit buttons in a game like this. Great, and that opens up the passage. And here we go.
You were once the greatest knight of my elite order, but now you're standing in my way. So you must perish.
So once again, our hero's captured, and Frollo doesn't bother to check whether or not he's alive or dead. Guess what? He's still alive.
You can kiss your dreams of freedom goodbye. I have captured Frederick, and this time I shall oversee his execution myself. I'll leave you here for the time being. Escape is impossible, so you might as well accept your fate.
So I imagine Frollo goes to prepare for the ritual, I guess? Here we have a brief puzzle where she gets to escape. Well, this is kind of a fun puzzle. Just move the ropes so none of the ropes are overlapping. There we go. And we've got a new character.
I am Lucius. I was once Frollo's scribe, writing his
Frollo,
memoirs.
Frollo.
I served
Frollo,
for 50
Frollo,
years,
Frollo.
but in all that time, he never aged a day. I began to suspect he was using dark sorcery. But when I asked too many questions,
Frollo
imprisoned me down here. Please, release me. I know this castle well, and I can help you escape.
Does seem weird, yeah. So Frollo hasn't aged in 50 years, and nobody really noticed. You think it'd be hard to get away with that, considering that he appears to be a very public persona. He runs his own police force. No, he seems kind of well known. And let's see. Oh, this is I do a match 3 here, I suppose, instead of solving that hidden objects challenge. Huh! I didn't know that. I thought I solved that hidden objects challenge legitimately. I didn't know. Well, with all these hidden objects challenges of the game, you can just skip them by doing match 3 instead. That's fine. Like, that works. But usually it's faster to do the hidden objects if you know where the hidden objects are in advance. Whereas these match 3 puzzles, they're all randomized. They're random, change every time you play the game. Yeah, so just like what we saw with the other character, Captain Frederick, we're sort of in a spot where it's a brand new location. We can never go back to any of the previous locations. I guess that's been true of the entire game. It's generally been the case that we go to a new location, which is 2 to 4 different screens long, and once we finish that location, we switch characters, go to the next location, and, you know, we're never going back. We never go backwards. It's always forwards. Okay, and I'm going to use the fan here. This is a puzzle that... Okay, it's not the worst puzzle ever, but it kind of bothers me that the puzzle is to move those dream catchers by collecting the 4 items. And really, they're dream catchers. You could just push them aside, and that would be fine. It's not like it's giant metal bars that you have to break your way through. It's very easily moved items. You could just reach your hand off, just swipe them. You could have hit them with the fan, and that would move them aside. I know I'm complaining a bit too much. So this puzzle, you're just trying to get all these pieces to match each other. So the same symbol is reflected on the left and right hand sides. Yeah, so in this particular case, it's really like we've got 2 rooms that we go through. And this gives us access to a 3rd room. We have to free this guy first.
Thank you, Esmeralda. Here, this map reveals all the safe passages. I pray we all escape alive. Good luck.
Yeah, we'll never see him again. Just like we'll never see the people from the first third of the game again. But that makes sense because we moved locations. We're in a brand new location now. And then, yeah, where does Esmeralda go? We don't really know. She just grabs the map. We never get to see the map. We don't know where she's...
Is anyone there? Please, help. Esmeralda, you're alive. What a relief. Please, help me out of this. We must escape before Frollo returns.
I don't know. Find it weird she ends up in the same room as Frederick. Like, why would she go here to the torture room when she's in the middle of escaping from the castle? She could have gone straight to the exit and left. And that would have been totally understandable because she had no idea that Frederick was still here. Or that he was specifically inside this particular room. But more than that, even if you're searching around for Frederick because you believed he was somewhere in the castle, why would you check the torture room first? Wouldn't you go back to the room where you last saw Frederick? Oh, and it looks like I decided to do hidden objects for this as well. Yeah, so I guess it's up to personal choice. What do you prefer? Do you prefer going across 3 different rooms at once? Or do you prefer going across like 2 different rooms at once and then a third is added afterwards, after one of the rooms is finished? Because I think that's the situation here, is we finished one of the rooms. One of the rooms has been completely finished. And then well, the second room still got a puzzle or 2 for us, like that plague doctor. We're gonna go back to the room. Actually, wait. No, I think we've got like 1 puzzle each in both of these 2 rooms. We've got this puzzle, this singular puzzle in room number 1. And then room number 2, a couple of puzzles though, actually. Cheese goes on the mouse. Simple puzzle. Oh, another puzzle. Put this plague doctor head on. And the broken wheel, this is gonna be for the torture room. Just using the spokes. So it goes right here. I would never have solved that puzzle in real life. And that just gives us items back over here. I do think what some people say is that, you know, they don't like it with the old style adventure games where you might have 20 different screens that you have to solve puzzles across. Or even not just like an old style puzzle, but maybe even old style game. But, you know, a more recent game too, where you have, you know, there are about 20 different screens you can interact with, and you get an item, and you have to go back 10 screens before you use it. I think people are kind of annoyed when you have to do that. They tend to prefer situations like this where
Not so
we really only have about 3 different rooms to worry about, so you don't have to do a whole lot of backtracking, because it's just a series of 3-room puzzles. That's good, but it's also like, it feels like you're just doing a series of interchangeable 3-room puzzle games.
Lord Frollo, Esmeralda tried to escape, but I captured her and locked her on the top floor.
Rocks for brains. You left her alone? She'll escape again. Go back and guard her, now.
I do have a question. Why did Cardinal Frollo do that? He has no way of knowing that Frederick is inside this room. And where is this room? Is this like the other side of the torture room? It would make no sense if this was the other side of the torture room. Are we to assume that Frederick was secretly following that goblin for a period of time? And that locket we just picked up with pictures of the previous wives. I feel like that's a problem with the previous wife storyline, too, is that, okay, we helped Miranda, and I think we helped one more, and that's it. But the game made it very clear that there were 3 different wives, especially with that hidden objects challenge. If you watch my normal walkthrough for the game, where I do have a video walkthrough for the game, however many videos it is, like 10 or so videos. If you watch it, I just complain about that on and on and on, because the Hidden Objects Challenge lets you know about the 3 wives, and we find out their backstories. It is actually kind of interesting. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see those wives. And then they don't really show up! It's something that bothered me. I guess I'm just complaining. Maybe I'm just complaining for the sake of having something to complain about. But that locket right there also was like contributing to the finding the missing wives storyline, which was so very much introduced with Miranda and then just kind of gets dropped. We're gonna meet one wife besides that Miranda, who apparently was not on the list of the 3 wives that we learned about. Whereas, yeah, I think there's like exactly 3 that we find in the Curse of Bluebeard game. Maybe 4. Alright, so now we're at the astronomy tower, basically. That's this area. And, like I said, seems like they just kind of picked random areas, didn't they? Really? Yeah. And this is another, basically, like, 2-room area. So the first, you had one room all by itself, and you solved, say, 75% of the puzzles there. And that opens this room. And here in the second room, you work back and forth between the first room and the second room to solve 75% of the puzzles here. That will open our pathway to the third room, and then we'll solve all of the puzzles in all 3 rooms, and that will be it for our little 3-room area. Getting back to what I was saying. So, yeah, we definitely have the astronomy tower. Like, make a list of areas in a castle that you would expect our characters to go to. Would that include the astronomy tower? Would that include the torture area? Would that include the prison? Apparently there's some sort of prisons there because Esmeralda escaped from them. And then next we are going to go to the area where they keep dogs. The dog kennel area. And then finally the roofs. The roofs, which seem to double as a chapel, maybe. So are those areas that you would logically expect to travel to in this game? I don't think so. I think I'd probably, if I was making this game, I would read The Hunchback of Notre Dame and just like make a list of locations in that book, and those would be the various locations in the game. Of course, maybe a large amount of the book takes place in a castle. I could be 100% wrong. I feel like one of the problems, or one of the difficulties with that, is that sometimes books don't always have a bunch of different locations. So obviously in a game like this, they have like 40 or so different screens that you have to go across. Whereas, okay, well, let's say, would be a good example. I think like Phantom of the Opera. I think they did a dark romance Phantom of the Opera game. There's not a whole lot of locations in Phantom of the Opera. There's basically the opera house, and that's basically it. Our characters leave like there's like a graveyard, and then there's a party outside the opera house, and that's basically it. There are not 40 different locations in the Phantom of the Opera. Even if you include different areas of the opera house, like, okay, well, here's the manager's room, here's the Phantom's private stall, here's the backstage dressing area, here's the area underneath the stage. Even if you include those, that's still not 40 different locations. So maybe that's just a problem this game inevitably runs into, is there are not 40 distinct locations in the book, so it has to add a bunch of locations.
Don't move. Lord Frollo said no one must reach Esmeralda. Take one step closer, and I'll kill you.
On the other hand, we have locations like the one we just had, where it's basically astronomy tower, and that was 2 different screens. Like, that was 2 different locations. And also, like, the torture room is kind of related to, like, this big dungeon room. Those were fairly similar locations. You could totally see them being right next door to each other. And hey, maybe that's why Esmeralda went there. She just left the room and checked the first room immediately. Where's the room right next to us? Okay, I'll check there. I mean, might as well, but she had a map. She had a map, so why would she... whatever. This is also kind of an area which I had some difficulty with. Because of the shackles, and they look very similar to the one thing, and the chains, and So right over here, like the shackle item, those things look a lot like the shackles, but they were not the shackles. And this is a puzzle. It's actually a fairly simple puzzle. So, thank goodness for that. I believe in In hard mode, what you have to do is move items across all 3 screens. So right now we're on screen number 1. You can see it's on the green chain number 1 of 3. So now I switch to number 2. And I imagine on hard mode you have to switch to number 3 in order to beat the puzzle. But here on easy mode you can just use the first 2. And that's fine. That gives us a gargoyle. I don't know why the golem is just standing around with Esmeralda here. That is something that seems a little odd, but as Frollo said, that golem has rocks for brains. This is a weird thing. It's like, backstory for Cardinal Frollo, he likes astronomy, which we figured out because he's got a big astronomy tower, but isn't that kind of a weird place to throw in? He loves astronomy as a backstory. Also kind of weird to say he's got a golem, which I'm sure was not in the original book. And what happened to Quasimodo's ability? Like, he turned Victor into a gargoyle, and he turned the one guy into a ferret. Why can't Quasimodo use those magic skills to help our heroes? Seems like that would be useful. We are going to see Quasimodo one more time, coming up pretty soon, actually, right after we defeat the golem. Oh man, and this puzzle's really tough. I had to memorize the solution. I feel like, I don't know. I sure hope my brain isn't just filled with random puzzle solutions from various games. I hope I can forget those puzzle solutions and still, like, remember important things in the future, like people's names. Or does my brain just run out of room and it's like all it can do is remember this video game? So we got the magic shackles, defeating the golem. Esmeralda says nothing.
Your persistence is staggering. It's like you have 9 lives. But this one shall be your last. Now no one will stop me from finishing what I started.
And we switch locations for some reason.
For nothing. Once I kill you, Esmeralda will be mine.
No, seriously, why did we switch locations?
You're a monster. You'll never have Esmeralda. I won't let you.
Is that how it is, Quasimodo? Then I'll kill you and Frederick.
And now we switch to Esmeralda. I don't know what caused that particular rock to fall. Quasi, you okay, buddy? Let's check up on him.
I tried to save you and Frederick, but now Frederick is locked in the tower with that monster. I know how to stop Frollo, but I'm wounded. Please, cure my wound, then I'll tell you his secret.
I find it odd that Quasimodo says that he's locked in the tower. How does Quasimodo know that? I mean, he is, but, like, how does Quasimodo know that? Because we're not in the tower, and we're not even close to the tower. And I didn't like this puzzle at all. Dripping blood, yuck, gross, disgusting. And it's a hidden objects challenge. Like, if anything, you'd think going up the stairs that we see in this location would be going up to the tower. But no, we're going down to the dog kennel. I'm still a little confused as to why we switched locations. Like, Frollo had a gun on us in the garden area, and then suddenly we're here near some stairs, where Quasimodo appears out of nowhere and fails to use any magic powers on Frollo, despite the fact that it's very well established that Quasimodo has magic powers that could easily defeat him. That's the first part of the game. Quasimodo was using his magic powers, causing problems for our heroes. He could just use those same spells over and over again. What happened to Quasimodo's gargoyle, buddy? I need to stop picking apart the storyline. I'm sorry. And there is the other wife that we're gonna save. And really, no indication here. I don't know why Quasimodo left a letter for us to find there. Why did he leave us a letter about the dogs? I don't know. But there's no indication that this area is connected to the tower, right? Because we don't really have a sense of where things are in this place. So I don't even know where we are right now. We were near... I believe that area was called the Gardens. And then this is also kind of a... the word that's coming to mind is kind of stilted. It's very... non-linear, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. You have to solve most of the puzzles here in a specific order. And I got confused by some of the puzzles. Specifically, like, opening the back of that one carriage. Whatever that carriage... Like, whatever. Once we leave the dog kennels, I think the game gets better. Then we get into the final third of the game, which I thought was good. So I like the first third of the game and the final third of the game. But the middle third was just... It's just our heroes being captured over and over and over again and kind of going through various areas. But then the final third is more like the first third, where it's like we're in a very specific area and we've got a very specific goal we're trying to accomplish. And I also like how the final third of the game has a bunch of teamwork between the two main characters.
Thank you. Frollo is using a special mirror to steal life from others. That's what helped. Frollo needs you to perform a ritual that will stop his aging permanently. But that ritual will kill you. You've got to use his own mirror against him. It's hidden somewhere in the tower. I'd go with you, but I can barely stand. Here. I hope this helps.
Helping Quasimodo, who was hurt, is very similar to helping our friend Pierre, who was hurt earlier. Huh, same basic idea, wasn't it? Yeah, well, so we've got to go to the tower now. We've got to find Frollo's mirror and use it to end his evil, evil spell. La 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 la. So now we're in the dog kennels. More puzzles. Again, this is another area where we have 3 screens. And at screen number 1, you solve like 75% of the puzzles there. Move to screen 2. Solve 75% of the puzzles there. Move to screen 3. And then you solve puzzles among all of the screens until you're done. It does seem like all these 3 screen areas I mentioned seem to have like a character you need to help too, because there's the guy we helped in the dungeons, and there's us helping Quasimodo. There's helping the one wife, and here we're going to be helping the second wife. I guess there's also the guard we bribed, although that's not really helping a character so much as it is just bribing someone. Alright, we got past those dogs.
Thank you for getting rid of those dogs. I'm Lillian, Frollo's latest wife. After we married, I realized he didn't really love me, and I began to feel ill. One day he told me I was useless, and that he had only wanted me for some ritual. He locked me in this yard, guarded only by those dogs. He's ruined so many lives, and now he seeks to ruin yours. Stop him before it's too late. Here, this may help. Frollo went to...
And if I could complain a little bit more about this, that woman was not so close to the dogs that we could have walked all the way around those dogs and pulled her to safety. I really feel like that's something we could have done. Also, we just sort of left her here next to the dogs. We haven't actually saved her from the dogs. It's an incomplete rescue. It's very good that we neutralize the threat of the dogs, but what's going to happen once those dogs finish eating their bones? What's going to happen then? because Lillian has not stood up and walked away. She's still just lying down, and I have already forgotten about her. Frederick, you should help her. And here we have the Hidden Objects Challenge. Again, I'm going to dodge the Hidden Objects Challenge. I do think the match 3 challenges in this game are pretty well done. Going through them usually is a lot faster than doing a Hidden Objects Challenge that you have never seen before. Although, like I said, if you know where all the items are in a Hidden Objects Challenge, then it's always faster to do the Hidden Objects Challenge. But, the only way you'd know where all the items are ahead of time is if you're using some sort of guide or if you've played the game before. I don't know, I imagine there are some people that are very good at Hidden Objects Challenges and they can beat them quite quickly on their first try. But I'm not one of those, and this is one of those games where the match 3 screens are so strong that it's fairly easy to clear them in a fast manner. Alrighty, and here's our little bowl. And actually, now I think about it, this area is a little bit unique in that we are going to come back here in, I don't know, like 5 minutes or so. So as I said, all the 3 screen areas generally are independent of each other, and once you're finished with one 3 screen area, you never come back to it again. This is like one of the exceptions. I suppose that's how you can tell we're near the end game sequence. Okay, but we're totally done there. And here's some smelling salts for her.
Ah. Thank you. My months of imprisonment have weakened my strength. Frollo is in the castle tower. If Captain Frederick is there, he's in great danger. Take my wedding ring. It opens a secret door that leads directly to the tower roof. I'll leave this place quicker on my own. Don't worry about me. Good luck, Esmeralda.
I guess I'll take back my complaints. We actually did save her. That's nice. That's nice. And she gave us her wedding ring, which opens up the path to the tower, but oh no, it's a trap!
Ha! I knew your feelings for Frederick would lead you to me. I'm afraid he's unable to help you. So it's time we began the ritual.
Huh, why can't he help? What happened to him? Yeah, now I'm curious as to what happened to him, because we immediately switched back to Captain Frederick.
I've waited years for this moment. Let's go, Esmeralda.
And he's totally fine here. We could totally move around and do stuff. So what was up with Frollo just saying, "Haha, he's incapacitated, he can't help you." And now he's able to stand up and then do a bunch of stuff. Alright, and here we go. Getting close to the endgame sequence here. Glue to open up that. I don't like the puzzle of cracking open that particular hole in the ground because it's right next. It's right next to that hammer. That's the same screen where we get the hammer, and the hammer is not used to smash open the hole, when a hammer totally could be used for that purpose. Hammers can smash boards, but no, that hammer is building a ladder. And that's the only thing you can use that hammer for. So we're gonna use the hammer, not the hammer, the ladder over here to this room, which is a strange room. I don't think we ever get an explanation for what's going on in this room, but I guess it's like Frollo's secret room or something. I accidentally clicked on a bracelet there. There are bracelets hidden throughout this game. I mostly ignore them here in my video walkthrough, but if you're a collector and you want to get an achievement for finding all the bracelets, that's something you can do. It's relatively easy. Bracelets only appear in the zoom-in areas. Let's see. Another item you can find in this game is Esmeralda's diary pages, I believe. They're just scattered throughout the game. And this puzzle, this area might have some difficulty there with the puzzle of just. We've got all these puzzles in this room. And I'm solving this puzzle, which is just fine. So it's more like, in this room, the challenge is to know the correct order to solve the puzzles in, which is not that difficult, honestly. You could just keep trying and trying until you get it figured out. Yeah, and I got stuck because I didn't get the saltpeter. Is it here? Yeah, so that's me putting the wick on the dynamite specifically so I could use the hint button. Yeah! Okay. Yeah, got stuck here. That's why I'm complaining. It's like, oh, I have to go back to here to grab that one tiny item so I can use it here to get the saltpeter. Or the sulfur. And I know that's what I need to make the dynamite. Yeah, I'm reusing the dynamite over here. Great, and that takes us to the third room of my area, the castle tower.
I'm sick of your meddling, Captain Frederick. It seems I need to finish you off myself.
So Esmeralda escapes while he attacks Captain Frederick.
You've come so far, but all you've found.
So there's some sort of protective magical bubble. I don't know why he didn't use that magic bubble to protect him right now when he was trying to attack Esmeralda. But yeah, whatever. This gives her plenty of time to solve puzzles in her area. And what is she gonna do? She's gonna look for that mirror. She's gonna look for the mirror. This puzzle is quite easy on easy mode. On hard mode, you have, I believe, 4 different things that we're moving, because there are 4 different entrances. But here on easy mode, it's 2. That's way easier. Navigating 2 things at once as opposed to navigating 4 things at once. This one screen is a little difficult, but yeah, we could go backwards. It's kind of amazing that she can just go back to the dog area. The dog area somehow connects exactly to the spot where she was just standing in. Who knew, right? So does it take her like a couple of minutes to walk all the way down the steps and get to the bottom of the tower, or is that not the case? Anyway, quick trip back to the dog area, and we are done. We are done. So that gives us the saw. Really fast sawing over there. And that will give us to whatever this room is. Again, this is sort of a room where the puzzle is a little bit know the correct order to solve the puzzles in. But again, it's not that bad. You got a hint button. That's a big help. Kind of hard to commentate on match 3 challenges when it's just, okay, well, I'm trying to make a match. Yeah. Did you see the thing on the far right, which, every time you make a match, you're trying to make matches in those areas that have orange outlines, so you make matches on those particular tiles. So the thing on the right is just keeping track of that. That's all. It can be kind of frustrating when you've only got like 1 or 2 places left on the board. It's like, oh no, I'm so close. In this case, I've only got 1 left. 1 left. Done. That should be the last hidden objects challenge. Let's see, I use the gauntlet here. Alright. This is me getting confused for a little bit. Sorry about that. Figurine goes there, giving us that item, and as you can see, there's going to be a puzzle there later on. And that seems like that's something that's quite clearly puzzle. Gotta grab that first before you can use the magnet. Because, well, we're opening that. I need to get a strong grip on that. Let me see, I wonder what's going to be used to get a strong grip on that. Guess the magnet wouldn't have worked. So here we are making a crossbow, it looks like. Because I guess crossbows can penetrate this this magic ring.
What's this? You want to fight, wench?
And Frollo is immediately distracted.
Let's make a deal, Captain. Bring me the ingredients for my ritual, or I kill her right now.
Jeez. So, Frollo really won that battle against Esmeralda pretty quickly, even though she had a crossbow. This is a giant crossbow. I guess I wouldn't be able to like use it on Frollo though without hurting Esmeralda. So that's kind of cool. They're using the doll as a brush. Kind of an unexpected, cute trick. So here's something a little weird. We need to find the ingredients for the potion, but we don't know what the ingredients are. If you zoom in on Frollo, he'll show what the ingredients are. So one of those ingredients is eggshells. It's only really that's just a minor complaint, though. It's not that big a deal. It's still a pretty simple enough puzzle. And really, you'll just do what you've been doing the whole game, which is, okay, I've got these 3 screens I can go across. Let me use the items I have and solve the puzzles here. I'm not very good at this particular puzzle. There. I remember I was recording this puzzle. Family members came in and interrupted me, and so I had to stop midway through. That's okay, though. So, now I'm using the hints because I don't remember what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, we use the axe here. It was not the hammer. It feels like I could have used the hammer to have the exact same result. But no, I had to wait until the next segment in this area when I got the axe. And see, this is where we have all those ingredients, all 4 of them.
You were always my favorite pawn, Frederick. I'll give you the honor of being the first to experience the might of my dark mirror.
Now he brings out his magic mirror.
You shall become my new Quasimodo. No more heroic looks for you, Captain. Only screams and tears.
But he happened to drop his magic bag, which I don't think was here before. So let's steal his stuff. And it includes instructions on how to break his magic mirror with a particular scepter. How convenient. Also convenient that he had a cork, which opens up this hidden objects challenge. Definitely a match 3 puzzle. I'm sorry I did so much match 3. I really hope nobody is watching this video just for the hidden objects challenges. I think I did that with a couple of games. Like I did a video which is just all hidden objects. It's just the hidden objects challenges. And that it got like very few views. Nobody wanted to watch a video which was just solving hidden objects challenges. It would be super helpful for somebody who's not good at hidden objects challenges, but I guess there's not too many people that are going around looking for it. Not when you've got a hint button, which you could just use to get through. It definitely would be faster to use the hint button every time. For like a hidden objects challenge with, you know, like 20 items. I don't know. What would be easier? What do you think would be easier? Using the hint button every single time, or going online and looking up the hidden objects challenge solution every single time? And there we go. We're done. That gives me some jaws. Giving me that item. Gonna finish solving some puzzles here. Yeah, we need jaws to get that particular thing. We're not going to use it, we're just going to throw it aside. Now we have this puzzle, which is simple enough. You're just clicking on these things to get them to match. So I got shield on shield, and then next I'm going to get the dagger next to the shield. And then next is going to be the mace. Well, I got the mace already, so then it's going to be this other shield. It's hard to see these items. They are a little small, but if you're playing this game on full screen mode, then it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And done. And now we have everything to build that magic scepter we just found out about. You can tell we're close to the end of the game because we finally have an empty inventory. Alright, here we go. So we broke the mirror and undid the spell.
My face! How dare you! My beauty is tarnished! You'll pay for this!
Everybody goes back to their ordinary form, so all the people that Frollo cursed are beautiful again, and Frollo's back to being old and hideous.
To become beautiful, how many decades I've toiled, but no, you just had to interfere. Now die!
Is interesting because he talked about toiling for decades, and the one guy mentioned that Frollo hasn't aged a day in 50 years. So Frollo definitely did get older, but he doesn't look like he got 50 years older in a few seconds. He does not seem like he's 50 years older. He looks like he's pretty much the same age, to be honest. So that's one part I'm not, I'm a little skeptical about. Why is it he 50 years older? But who cares? Why does he just let me wander around? He just lets me go away, solve some more puzzles in these areas. And like Esmeralda did, I'm building a multiple part weapon in order to defeat him. So I did like this section. As I said, we go back and forth between Esmeralda and Frederick are basically interacting in the same area. This is not a puzzle I particularly enjoy. It's, you want to click the buttons when those swords are at the top and bottom of the screen. So I press the, let me see. Look on the right hand side, it's about to reach the bottom right, so I click the button, which is for the bottom right. And now it's about to reach the bottom left, so I click the button on the bottom left. And that's what we do. We do this over and over and over again until we win. It is not a particularly exciting endgame challenge. I would have done a different challenge. A different puzzle to go out on. Perhaps it's easier in hard mode. Perhaps it goes by a lot faster in hard mode. Maybe those levers move up and down at different speeds. You'll notice the two of them are moving at different speeds. So the one on the left is a different speed from the one on the right. That kind of adds to the difficulty, but if they were both going very, very quickly, that definitely changed the entire difficulty of the puzzle. But it also, if they were going really, really quickly, it'd make the puzzle go a lot faster. Oh, and he was holding Esmeralda over a cliff. Jeez, I didn't know that.
Thank you, Frederick. You're truly a noble knight.
I couldn't have beaten that monster without you. Your courage and kindness give me strength.
Hooray! It is weird how Quasimodo got a delayed reaction, right? It definitely took Quasimodo a while before he turned back to normal. So the curse, it did not undo itself right away. It took a while for it to undo, in Quasimodo's case. In Captain Frederick's case, boy, that guy was saved instantly. So lucky for him.
Esmeralda, I found this letter for you on the threshold. It's from King Louis XII of France. It must be important.
Dear Esmeralda, the time has come for you to know the truth. You're my illegitimate daughter. I loved your mother and wanted to marry her, but she was a commoner. I was already contracted to marry Agatha Pellerati, the Italian princess, in order to stop a war. But now, as my days are nearly over, I wish to see you and your mother, who...
I knew my crazy husband would send a note to his illegitimate daughter. I'll never let you or your commoner mother become the part of the royal family.
So this is the endgame challenge. Or not the endgame challenge, this is the bonus chapter. Or the bonus game, I forget which one it's called.
You escaped? Her guard wounded me. I feel so weak I can hardly speak. I saw the rest of the letter. Please, help me, and I'll tell you what it said.
And once again, we have a challenge to help the sick person. And once again, we have a challenge to kind of go across 3 screens, where we solve like 70% of the puzzles on this screen, move on to the next screen, solve 75% of the puzzles there, move on to the next screen, and we solve puzzles across all 3 screens. In this particular case, it's 4 screens, actually. It's 4 screens. So I guess that makes it a little different. And we're just gonna smash this here. This has nothing to do with the rest of the game, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. It's like, this is pretty much just a standalone story.
I've always dreamed of bearing the crown of France. But after marrying King Louis XII, I knew I didn't want to share the French throne and palace with him. I didn't love Louis. So my time was planning ways to get rid of him. I decided to poison him slowly, so that no one could. I snuck poison into his food, and soon enough, Louis grew closer to death. However, he refused to give me the throne. He told me about his illegitimate daughter, calling her the rightful heir. Louis even sent her a letter, inviting her to the palace. Now that I know where she lives, before the moon rises, I shall get rid of this commoner. No one will find any trace of her.
Good. And we got a loaded gun, which I believe we're gonna waste here. Yeah, because that's Frederick's cabin. That's Esmeralda's husband. She doesn't have a key to her own husband's cabin? That's a little strange. Yeah, also complete change of scenery. It's indicated by some of the items that you can zoom in on that this is just a traveling carnival, and that's where they live now after getting married. Interesting how they follow up on, I mean, I imagine Esmeralda was the member of the traveling carnival before getting involved with all this Hunchback of Notre Dame business. Instead of going to live with Frederick in his situation. We don't know anything about his living situation, though. Alright, that's a puzzle thing. It's interesting how there's nobody else in this circus, just the two of us. So this is one of those cases where I looked up the solution using the strategy guide, and the strategy guide says it's like it's like a 20-step solution. It's pretty complicated. And so I did like 3 steps, ended the video, then the next 3 steps ended the video, the next 3 steps ended the video, and so on until I was done with that puzzle. Because that particular puzzle is kind of a pain. Yeah, so you can see that we've got notes here that you can read, but you don't have to. And so I chose not to.
What? You escaped? God, get rid of her now.
Meanwhile, I shall appraise this theater. Perhaps I can use it to entertain my future royal guests.
And now Agatha's just gonna walk away. I wonder how she got inside this tent, because I had to solve puzzles to get inside here. Maybe she just walked around the outside. I can't think of any other explanations. Alright, clean this area up. Just grabbing items, and we'll be using them elsewhere. Why can't I reach that? I should be able to reach it. I guess my arm is short. Is that the final ingredient? It is. And now we can wake up Frederick.
Thank you. I saw the rest of the letter. It was about your birth mother. Her name is Paquette. She's the owner of the flower shop. I fear Agatha is targeting her next. You must save your birth mother. Pass through the forest to catch up to Agatha. I'll stay here. I'll only slow you down in my condition. Here, this is for you.
Alright, we got a mask. It's kind of weird. It's like, here, this is an important item for you. It's like, it's actually kind of weird. Maybe you could give me your sword or something. I don't know. Like, if I had a list of items that I wanted him to give me to help, and then a hint wanted me to look at these things, and so I had to actually look at them. That way I would have a hint button again. That way the hint button would refill and I could use it again. So this is the puzzle that was the endgame puzzle in Dark Romance, Winter Lily. Slight variation on it. That gives me 2 items. the books there. Grab those items. Clearly I'm going to need 2 horses for that. Use these 3 items here so we can escape.
Are you trying to save your mother? I'll never let you reach Paris. Once I get rid of you and Paquette, I shall become the true Queen of France. Stay back. I've been learning dark magic since my childhood. Allow me to demonstrate.
It is interesting how we caught her walking away. It's like, how far did she walk in the 3 minutes she had? She took like 3 steps. 1 step per minute, I guess. Like, we easily caught up to her despite her large head start. But now she actually does have a really large head start, and she will definitely beat us to Paris. And by definitely beat us to Paris, I mean we're totally gonna catch up to her and arrive at pretty much the same time she does. So that's me using the map to warp over here. Guess that's the only item I can grab, is that coat emblem. Guess it's not a coat emblem. I don't know, it's an emblem. This is a puzzle where we swap the various arrows. This is another area. This is another area where I kind of got stuck. Trying to figure out what to do here in the camp. But it's basically the same thing we've been doing all along, is we want to finish the puzzles, all the various puzzles, because we're never going to come back to this area once we leave. And the final puzzle we solve is going to be getting past those trees. And we've got our magic scepter. Oh man, that hidden objects challenge again. I didn't want to do it last time, I'm not doing it this time. It's the outline hidden objects challenge, where not only do you have to find the items, but you have to get them to match their outlines exactly. It's like a double challenge, hidden objects challenge. And here I'm a little stuck trying to find any sort of way to make a match. I mean, forced to make matches in like the area which is far from the area where I actually need to make matches. So I need to make matches in the lower right, but there were no matches in the lower right, so I had to make matches in the middle. That sort of thing. That's the strategy for dealing with match 3 puzzles. Of course, another one is to use these, big explosion pieces, which have been working pretty well so far in this particular game. As you notice, when you make a match of 4 in a row, or maybe even 5 in a row, sometimes you get those explosion pieces. Some of them are just explosions where they just explode pieces that are nearby. Others will do explosions in a straight line, either up or down, or left and right. And that's it, we're done with this area, no need to worry about it ever again. Oh wait, no we're not. I messed up again. We get a tambourine, that scares away that particular bat. Open this with the zipper, bottle opener, which we're using as an improvised screwdriver. Now I've got an axe, and what am I doing? More puzzles? Yeah, this one. I thought this was a bit of an odd puzzle in that there's a button there the whole time. I could just press that button, and that should have been enough. Just pressing that button. So now we have an axe, and we can finally leave. Finally. And as I said, we arrive in Paris at the same time as Agatha. Oh, we do have a bit of a maze puzzle here. Similar to the maze puzzle we had earlier, where you go down various roads and find items in order to solve puzzles. So in this case, one of the items is a machete. You use that to cut up those branches, giving us boards to fix this bridge. So I guess either Agatha sabotaged the bridge and broke it behind her, or I arrived in Paris using a different route.
You survived. Well, no one can survive the king's notorious hounds. Normally, I'd watch them maul you. But I have an appointment at the flower shop with your wretched mother. Attack.
So here's our new area. It is Paris, but we need to get rid of those dogs before we can travel anywhere. So the first screen is fairly simple. You have to do items in the correct order, so it looked like the correct order was you do the things in the rightmost area, and that gives us the umbrella. And now we can open up these things in the bakery. Just grab all these items. Need something to distract that cat. Now we're going to use these 3 items together that will put the dogs to sleep. And this is one of those rare areas where we can totally go to screen number 3 right now. Like, okay, we got rid of those dogs. They're asleep. Now we're on screen number 2. And is there... Oh, wait. No, never mind. There looks like there is something blocking my way to screen number 3. Oh, darn. I thought this was one case where you could just run right forward and tackle screen number 3 right away. Nope. Maybe I'm thinking of somewhere else. Well, in that case, then yes. This everywhere in the game is following the exact same formula of 3 screens. You solve most of the puzzles on screen number 1, and then that gives you access to screen number 2. Solve most of the puzzles of screen number 2 and screen number 1, giving you access to screen number 3, and you solve puzzles across all 3 screens to finish. I mean, that even makes me wonder, like, since that's clearly the formula the game is using here, could it be that some of them were done, like, independently of each other? Like, some of those screens, like, some of those areas were done without knowing what was going to happen in the other areas? I don't know, like, how... I guess I'm just asking how directly, like, woven those screens were in the original planning of the game. Especially in this, this bonus chapter is particularly formulaic in that sense, because it's just a collection of 3 different screens. It's a collection of 3 of those 3 different screen areas. Although, yeah, you saw in the traveling camp, okay, that technically had 4 areas. The others are just both 3 screen areas. And each one must take about 10 minutes, because overall the bonus game is about a half hour. So it's, like you saw, the original game is like an hour and a half, so this bonus chapter is about a third of the length of the game. And as I noted when I was playing through the original game, it definitely felt like the different thirds of the game, they felt pretty different. Once we arrived on that Del Air Island, things got really different, and then it just turned into a generic castle situation. And then towards the end of that, we actually felt like, okay, we got to a new area. It's the fight Frollo area, stop the bad guy area. And here we've got a cursed flower. So if you play the other Dark Romance games, I posted walkthroughs for several of them on my YouTube channel. You can check them out. It is common. I mentioned like Dark Parables, not Dark Parables, Dark Romance. I played several of the Dark Parables games too, but as I mentioned, Dark Romance, Winter Lily, similar. There are some similar things, like a villain at the end who is casting some sort of green magic spell to steal youth. So now we need to just go through here, get these items. I'm capturing the fly because that will distract the cat from earlier. There's a specific hint at the top of the screen that said, I bet something buzzing will help, and that was sort of your clue. This is a very good clue, because there's a bee nearby. This is a good puzzle. The controls are not so good in terms of, like, if you make a mistake and want to restart, you just have to hit the restart button and start over from the beginning again. Which is kind of a pain. Like, if I messed up here with the blue, and I was like, oh no, then I'd have to restart and redo all 4 of the ones that I did get correct. Just a minor complaint, though. Alright, so we're gonna go fishing here. This puzzle's tough. Well, not this puzzle. And I realized I forgot the gear. So we got the buzzing thing. That gets rid of the cat. And now we can fix this fishing line. And the fishing line, this puzzle's tough. This one's really tough. It took me like 5 tries. Not 5, more like 10 tries to get this correct. Because you just have to have really good timing with those roots that are bouncing back and forth. Guess you need to click on them to prevent them from getting in your way. So that gives me a magnet and whatever that thing is. Gonna put those 2 items together. And now we can fight this. And see, I'm trying to make matches here, so I'm trying to follow it. It is kind of hard to explain, but that's it. So let's see. So I'm trying to follow that one this time. Doesn't matter which of the fire hoses I try to follow, as long as you follow one of the fire hoses and select it, you're good. Unfortunately, that puzzle's not too long. I could have used another round of that puzzle, to be honest. I wouldn't have minded. And now Esmeralda gets to save her mom. She gets to meet her mom for the first time. That's pretty exciting.
Esmeralda, my daughter, I must tell you something important.
Oh. Mom immediately fell unconscious. But don't worry, we're making a recipe to wake her up. Which is something we've already had to do in this game. I mean, it's a slightly different recipe, but in both cases, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Like, find the 3 ingredients, and then they automatically get mixed together on the zoom-in screen. Can't forget that pretzel. It's a very important pretzel. Gotta save that pretzel. And let's get this. Here I'm throwing the ingredients on there. I was getting those ingredients off. I put those ingredients there just to get rid of them. I mean, that way, otherwise, if I'd hit the hint button would have said, oh, use the items on the zoom-in screen. And it's like, no, I really needed the hint button for something else. I don't know if that explanation makes sense. Anyway, I was just trying to clear the green plus sign off my screen, because the hint button always goes to the green plus sign if you've got a green plus sign. But I was stuck and didn't know what to do next, and it's like, I really feel like the hint button, I mean, okay, it makes sense that the hint button shows off what's in the green plus sign, because that's definitely something to do, but it's like, I'm stuck and need to know what to do next. I was looking for the more difficult thing to solve. I mean, it's a big green plus button. Obviously, I have to do something with it. No, I was looking for a different puzzle that I need to zoom in on.
Thank you, dear. I'm sorry I never contacted you, but I had no choice. After Louis married Agatha, she swore to kill you, the true heiress of the French throne. I gave you to another family and told everyone you died. Now our only hope is King Louis. He'll save us from Agatha. We should hurry before she...
Paquette and Esmeralda Chantifleur. You're accused of treason against the king. Arrest them.
Interesting that she left behind guards to attack us. I say interesting because she thought we were both dead, right? So why did she send guards to attack us? Maybe she's just being extra careful. It's like, okay, I'll send guards in case they survive. And this is now we're inside the castle. We're in another prison cell inside a castle that we need to escape. And we will escape and go across the 3 screens. But first, we need to solve 75% of the puzzles in this room. And then we'll move on to room number 2. Yeah, not a very well kept prison cell, I must say. They let me keep all my special items, and they've got plenty of items and puzzles here to help inmates escape. Oh, I see a match I could have made, but I did not. Whoops. It does get a little slow towards the end of some of these hidden objects challenges. Some of the match 3 challenges, so I do apologize for that. Looks like I need 2 more. 2 more and I'll be done. And then the last one's super easy. So that gave me matches, which I used to melt this. Because I really wanted that candelabra. Or candlestick. Yeah, I just need the candlestick to smash that open. That gives me acid. I don't know why one of the prisoners was keeping acid hidden in here, but it's lucky for me that they were. Let's see. Uh-oh, getting stuck again. It's like, what do I use to clean that? I don't know. I'll just use a screwdriver here. This is a puzzle we have to come back to later, but we can put the one piece in place. I need a piece for that as well. Alright, that's a gear. Gear goes here. Sorry. There, upper left. That gives us one item. We'll come back to that puzzle later, though. That gives us the other piece for this puzzle. So this is going to be a color matching challenge. Which is fine. So you want to give the colors to these various pieces, and you want to make sure no 2 colors are touching each other. So green can't be next to green, blue can't be next to blue. Does that make sense? Of course, green and blue can be next to each other. That's fine. But not blue next to blue or green next to green. Undo this. We need a hook and the other items. There's the other item. It's all building up to getting through there. That's That's the one area we need to get through. So that particular wire just happens to be perfect for pulling up that. But, ooh, this is too sharp. I'm going to use a rope. I have the shield inlay. I use it here. I use the hook on this thing. Now I'll be able to open that door and reach the final room of the game.
Agatha, my men have told me about your order to arrest Esmeralda and her mother. How could you do that to my daughter, the heir to the French throne?
You would give the throne to some flower seller's daughter? Or perhaps you want France to learn about your affair with Paquette and your illegitimate daughter?
You dare threaten the king? My throne shall be given to my daughter, Esmeralda. That is my final decision.
Then I shall take it by force.
Again, we have a villain using magic to create some sort of big green bubble. So we just ignore them until we get the final thing that will allow us to pierce that bubble. Basically, just solve all the puzzles in this room. That's all, as you'd expect. We're gonna have to open up that as soon as we get a handle. Yeah, I wouldn't say this bonus chapter is... I wouldn't say it's bad, just kind of, I don't know, standard. I guess by the numbers. I don't know, I'd say either this or like the middle third of the main game would be my least favorite. Just because this seems to have nothing to do with the overall story, and that's kind of a pain for me. I don't really like the story for this place, but puzzles are fine, I guess. I don't know. It feels like I've spent most of this video complaining about the game. I'm sorry about that if I've been annoying people with my constant complaining. Almost done here. I don't know, maybe I feel like I'm just kind of sick of like bonus chapters in video games like this, where the bonus chapter has nothing to do with the main game. It's really like they just throw in something from an unrelated game and just tag it on the end of another game, and that's it. I'm like, ugh. Happened with some of the other dark romance stories as well. Like, hey, we've got a bonus game which stars the main character's child, and that's our explanation for why none of the characters in the main game appear in the bonus game. And it's like, no, I could tell you just made the bonus game separately without any concern as to what game you would be attaching this particular bonus game to. Like, there was at least a little bit of an attempt here because they had Frederick here in the bonus game, but he was quickly taken out of action. Like, why didn't they do something with Quasimodo? Or they could have done a bonus game about Quasimodo solving puzzles and realizing that Frollo was the one who was using him all along. That seems like an interesting backstory that they could have explored. What about that guy who was turned into a ferret? We could save him. Like, those are possibilities which extend naturally from the story that we've already been told. Or one of those wives, like one of those missing wives that we didn't find. We only found 2 of the 3. We could have a story about the 3rd one. Maybe, like, I'm just coming up with ideas here just off the top of my head. Whereas this is just, it definitely feels like something taken from an unrelated game. Like, maybe they were going to do some sort of King of France game, and they decided not... They decided... They didn't finish making that game. but they did make this particular section of the game, and so they just kept this one and shoved it on to the end of an unrelated game. Again, I'm sorry for all this complaining. Oh man, this puzzle. Can't believe they kept this puzzle for the end game sequence, though. It makes me wonder if like how much of these puzzles were actually done specifically for the game, or was it possible that they just said, "Okay, puzzle goes here." That's what the designers did, and then somebody else came in later and then made a puzzle to slip into that particular section of the game. Basically, it feels like the game could have been done that way. Because there's plenty of places where it's like, okay, they just made a markup. A puzzle goes here, a puzzle goes here, a puzzle goes here. It doesn't really matter what
Esmeralda, puzzle.
Thank you. I have searched for you and your mother for so long. At last, our family is reunited.
The puzzles were good, but I do have to say that some of them were interchangeable. Like, we could have switched that puzzle, you know, that final puzzle for, like, a puzzle at the castle or earlier, and it totally would have fit there. Or, you know, one of those puzzles in the early part of the game. You could have swapped that for a puzzle in the castle, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like, we take the astronomy puzzle and switch it with the puzzle inside the cathedral. No one would really know the difference. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm Arglefumph. Please like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy my videos.